I'm TJ Yusuf. I represent the people of Kaba, Bunujim for our constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, like you rightly said, Senator Isiaka Adeleke was the Senate Chairman, Capital Market, and by the leave of the leadership of the House and God, I'm the Chairman, House Committee, Capital Market. But our path first crossed about 20-something years ago, Mr. Speaker. I was still a student at the University of Jos, and the SDP convention was in Jos. Then, being a very, very committed member of National Association of Nigerian Student Movement, we were opposed, or were not too committed to the democratic incursion that was ongoing then. However, when the convention came to Jos, efforts were made by the two parties, NRC and SDP, to reach out to student leaders to see if they could find their buy-in. And I was one of those. The then SDP presidential candidate son, Abiola Sokola Abiola, reached out to him, this University of Jos. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, my first encounter with him shocked me to my marrow. There were about 14 SDP governors then, if you recall, and I also had about 16. And I guess only 3 were supporting the aspiration of MK Abiola: Oshoba, Isiaka Adeleke, and Ishola, the Oyo State governor. So while they were going around to canvass for votes, he would jump into the car. As an assisting governor at that time, he was the one driving. You have Oshoba by the side in front, Abiola and Ishola behind. And now, how can a governor drive himself? I took that and I asked a question. I was told that this is a governor with a difference, who does not allow the office to change who he is. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, in 2015, when I was made the chairman of the House Committee Capital Market, I had my next encounter with him. Mr. Speaker,
please,
I found him to be a very, very humane man, humble, accommodating, and a team player par excellence. We sat down that we must make a mark in this committee. He entrusted me with the responsibility of coming out with what we're going to do. And the moment the idea came, he bought into it every support required, even when some of his colleagues were saying, how do you submit the leadership of a joint committee to a House of Rep member? He called to give advice, to give counsel. That was all culminated into the first capital market stakeholders conference we had last year. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, until the news of his demise on Sunday, we were supposed to meet yesterday, Monday, to work on common ground to improve capital market. Mr. Speaker, there is a bill on demutualization. He had called me before we went on break that I want us to have a joint public hearing on it. So yesterday was stated for us to meet. As we all got to know on Sunday, the shock news of his departure came to us. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, like the last speaker did say, what we saw happen in the last few days in Ede is a true reflection of who Senator Isiaka Adeleke was. A man of the people, a man who made sure positioned wealth will not take away the consciousness of the fact that God rules in the affair of men. And that the fact that you find yourself where you are today does not make you better than those who have not the privilege of being where you are. Painfully, as may seem, he has run his race. There's a saying in Yoruba, that okun suku okun, that we are gathered in the morning, but someday we'll be mourned too. What is important is in donation we're able to make well enough. May the Lord grant his soul rest, eternal rest. Give his family the grace for it to bear this irreparable loss. I must end on this note that the people of Osun must see this as an opportunity to come together more than ever before. Use his death to build bridges and realize that 2019, though it looks far, it's good to have ambition, but God, it's only God that determines who gets where, who does not get where. All we do as mortals is to satisfy our righteousness. He knows those who will be where and those who will not be where. We must submit to God in all that we do, knowing that he is the author and finisher of every man's faith, and his thoughts of us are of good and not of evil. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues.
Last will be Honorable E.J. Abo.